Hey, what's up guys? And in this video, I want to talk about the crypto crash. So over the last 6-7 months, if you have invested in the cryptocurrency, you have probably heard of Bitcoin and Ethereum crashing. And the way I see it is that it is similar to a 2000 dot-com bubble crash. And it is great to study it, given that we're halfway or pretty much going through most of the crash by now. In this video, I would also talk about domino effect and how one small part of the crypto space crashing leading to a lot of other institutions crashing as well. So that's going to be quite a valuable lesson to learn, and this is actually something I covered within Investing Accelerator. So let's get started. So first of all, you'll see I have a news article here that talks about the fall of Terra. And Terra is really a stable coin within the crypto space. And a stable coin meaning that it is pegged to something. So back in the 1990s, where some Asian currencies are pegged to the US dollar, for example, like the Hong Kong dollar was pegged to the US dollar, and it was being attacked by a hedge fund, George Soros, and they try to depeg it, and by doing that, making a lot of money. So what happened to TerraLuna was that it used to be pegged, it was a stable coin, and it got depegged, and overnight, it turned into $0, basically worthless. And that is really what kick-started a series of other bankruptcies as well. So this leads to one of the crypto hedge funds, Three Arrows, file for bankruptcy. So that's obviously quite important because other people are invested into Three Arrows capital. And this leads to crypto exchange like Coinflex to freeze withdrawal, and basically this is similar to a bank run. So I'm sure a lot of the young people in North America has not experienced a bank run before, but if you are in the older generation, then you might have heard or experienced a bank run where the bank runs out of cash and freeze withdrawal. And this is actually what we're seeing in the crypto space. And this leads to other exchange, for example, like KuCoin, also having some rumors of potentially going bankrupt or being exposed to Luna and Three Arrow Capital. And this also lead to another exchange, if I pronounce this correctly, Falud, to pause withdrawal as well. And you can see the cascading effect of one stable coin collapsing. And Voyager Digital filed for bankruptcy, and I actually know someone with a Voyager account. So right now they freeze withdrawal, and the chances of you getting that money back is really low because they need to go through the bankruptcy proceeding and then distribute the holdings to its shareholders or the coin holders, which will take years. As you're going through the crypto crash and you notice that, hey, all these weaker, smaller exchanges are going bankrupt, then you might be wondering, how do I select a good broker? And if that is something that interests you, then you can look at this video up here where I cover how I selected a broker before. Currently, I'm using Coinbase and Kraken, and there's still some concern around it, but I think it's important to do your due diligence in the very first step, which is selecting a good broker. And that's what that video is. This is the corporate statement from the company, but basically they are pausing withdrawal triggered by the collapse of the UST stablecoin from TerraLuna, and also Celius pausing withdrawal. I'll talk about that as well, and Three Arrow Capital defaulting on their loans. So what you see here is really Three Arrow Capital borrowing money from all these other networks, and these other networks are making money like Celius, this company, and then because the hedge fund collapsed, can't pay back the loan, and hence the rest are collapsing as well. Uprise lost 99% of the client fund while shorting Luna during the price crash. So this one is actually quite interesting because obviously they're trying to take advantage of the market crash, but they didn't manage their risk very well. So even they got the direction correct, they shorted Luna, which went from 100 to 0, they still lost money because of how volatile it is. So this is a perfect example of risk management. And in addition to that, some of the upper stream, like the semiconductor stocks where they produce graphics card to mine cryptocurrency, is also falling. And if you have been looking at the video for the last 6-7 months, you'll see that it is falling as well. Now, obviously, another reason is because there's an overall tech correction, which hits the entire semiconductor industry, plus recession, but crypto is also one of the reasons. Not the only reason, but one of them. Now, having said that, if you look at the flip side, and if we look at the facts, which is what I do when I'm investing, you'll find that the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company has a revenue increase by 44%. So even though the crypto space is crashing, SMC is having an increase in revenue because there's obviously a lot of demand for semiconductor. And crypto lender Celius files for bankruptcy after cash crunch. So this is pretty much the last article, but basically what you'll see here is that initially there was a proposal to save Celius, and it gave the idea that maybe there's a way to turn it around. And then afterwards, Celius start repaying their debt aggressively. And it's quite interesting because they freeze withdrawal and then they pay down the debt. And now they file for bankruptcy. So that is actually the correct timeline. And by paying down the debt early, the debtors already get the money back. And it's only left with the coin holders and the shareholders that need to split the remaining amount, and they need to go through bankruptcy court. That's pretty much the summary for the crypto crash to date. It is basically the .com crash 2.0, and this time there's really no government bailout because crypto is a market outside of the US dollars, and there's really no point in printing US dollars to save that market. So it's just a devastating crash in this sense. But what's important is that if you look at the 2000 time, the capital investment that went into all these companies was important to create the internet we are experiencing today. So the crypto space crashing in 2022, all that capital investments went into these companies, so on and so forth, will create the crypto of the future. And obviously the next question is, well, we know that out of the 2000 crash, there's Apple, Amazon, Google. And one of the questions I got from my subscriber is, well, what is it going to be? This is where you need a little bit of luck, and you also need to do your research on it. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are pretty safe, but when you're looking at any of the smaller coins, there's really no guarantee that they will be the final winner in the end. And just to give you an example, Google is one of the largest search engines in the world, right? And you might also consider Bing. With Bing and Google, that is pretty much the entire search engine market, and maybe DuckDuckGo recently. And back in 2000, if I remember my stats correctly, there are over 300 search engines at that point. So if you are an investor, you're investing in the search engine, the chances of you getting Google right is actually quite low. So yes, that's where the risk comes from. And yes, the rewards 10, 20 years from now will also be very high. So that is basically the crypto crash, and we'll see how it plays out for the rest of the year. Now the market has crashed. You might be wondering, well, I want to invest in crypto because it is near the bottom. So here is a video that I talk about how to select a good crypto project going forward. So if you go to this link, then you can see that additional video as well. Right now within Investing Accelerator, I'm predicting a major turning point for the overall markets like S&P 500. Coming up in the next 1 to 2 months. And if you have been tracking S&P 500, you will see that price has been stabilizing within an area. So then it's just a matter of waiting for some government policies to trigger the markets to reverse. And I think if S&P 500 starts going up, the tech stocks start going up, then there is also a potential turning point for the crypto market as well, because the crypto market functions very similar to the tech industry. So that's pretty much it for this video. You can let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments.